And our thanks to Anderson for that look. Joining me now, Sister Erin McDonald and Sister Colleen Gibson. They are co-hosts of the podcast Beyond the Habit. Joining us, it's great to have both of you with us. I feel like there is so much to talk about it when it comes to this Pope and the way that he has brought so many people perhaps into the church, or brought so many people to be more aware of the church, even if they are not Catholics, including women, including young people. I know that's something you both really have a connection to. Sister Erin, I want to start with you first. When you look at this, I know that you are, I believe, still in charge of the digital youth ministry. What is it that you see in this Pope that is such a connection for young people in this moment?
I feel like Pope Francis is really inspirational with young people. I feel he energized young people. He energized so many groups of people because he himself was a model of really a pastoral approach to reach out beyond the borders and to really connect in so many ways. I feel like he energized people around the environmental justice work that he was doing, the interfaith work that he was doing. He was really great at making people feel seen and loved and creating spaces of belonging. And that's really significant in our world today.
In terms of those spaces for belonging, those spaces for women, also incredibly important. Sister Colleen, he did push for more women, of course, to be in roles of leadership and to expand what they could do within the church. How much of that do you think has really impacted women who are Catholics, either in terms of keeping them, perhaps, among the practicing Catholics, or even bringing more women in? Did Pope Francis speak to women as well in the way that he connected with younger people?
I think he really did. I think the Pope, for a man of his age and from the culture that he came from, he spoke the language from where he came from. But he met people where they were at. And I think he met women where they were at. And the hopes that we had for him when he came into his papacy really was this feeling that the door was opening, and he opened the door so that women could be in leadership, so that women religious could assume certain roles. He opened the discussion around women's diaconate. There is a historic precedent for women to serve in the diaconal, to be ordained as deacons within the church. And so even to be open to an exploration of that discernment, I think has inspired hope for women across generations. Some will say, he hasn't gone far enough, but I think he created space for dialogue and conversation to happen. Even when we look at the synod, these listening sessions that have happened over the last 3 years, he brought women in and gave them a voting role, which they have never had in a synodal space. And so to be full members, fully participating, allows, women, mothers, daughters to see themselves as having a place in the church.
Which is an incredibly important development. Sister Erin, you met Pope Francis, I believe it was in 2019. What was that moment like for you?
It was a really beautiful and humbling moment to meet Pope Francis in person. I was working for the Jesuits at that time. I was in Rome for an international gathering, and our delegation had an audience with Pope Francis, and he offered us a blessing and some inspirational words, very on brand for Pope Francis. They were words of hope and encouragement and encouraging joy. He, encouraged us to go forth and to be, people of service, to be people of justice, to be community builders, to be people of unioning love and reconciliation. And when I had the opportunity to meet him in person, it was very brief, but it gave me an understanding of why people feel so connected to Pope Francis. He had a real grace and gift about him to, he kind of radiated that sense of making you feel seen and loved and welcomed. And also, I can understand, because I think people loved Pope Francis because they felt loved by him. And that was a real gift that he brought. And I experienced that in meeting him.
Yeah, and I can see it in your face, right, as you're reliving those moments, what it must have been like for you. Sister Colleen, when you said that he created space for dialogue and he created this space for women, right? Do you believe that will continue? How important is it to you that this next pope continue those efforts of outreach, specifically for women in the church?
Oh, I think it's critical. I think it's critical for our church to be a listening church, and Francis modeled that so perfectly that when he sat in audience with someone, he received them as fully as who they were, wherever they came from, whatever walk of life. He was there to listen, and I think the church needs to be a pastoral church, a church that welcomes all people, and that really, Francis talked about, the pastor should take on the smell of the sheep. But the church needs to take on the smell of the sheep. If we are to be a field hospital, as Francis encouraged us to be, we meet people in their woundedness and their brokenness, in their full humanity. And I think for women in the church and in the world, what better place than the church to create a space for encuentro, as Francis would often talk about.
Sisters Erin McDonald and Colleen Gibson, it's been a real treat to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.